After a gap of 2 years, the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum begins in Davos, Switzerland. Minister Piyush Goyal to lead the Indian delegation at the 5-day meet. A jolt for the BJP in Bengal as disgruntled MP Arjun Singh joins the TMC. Farmers can change governments, Telangana's KCR says in Punjab as he meets families of 600 farmers who died during the nationwide farmers' agitation. Appeals to farm leaders to continue their agitation against the centre until they get constitutional guarantees and support prices for crops. The Finance Minister asked states to follow the centre and cut fuel taxes. Tamil Nadu hits out, says the centre didn't inform us while increasing taxes, so why ask us now to cut? Uddhav Thackeray says prices should go back to 6-year-ago levels. A day after a mob set a police station in Assam's Nagaon district on fire over an alleged custodial death case. Bulldozers demolish homes of at least 3 people allegedly involved in the violence. And some of India's top cricketers will be rested at the back of the IPL for the series against South Africa. We'll bring you a look at what the new Indian team for the T20s versus South Africa will look like. Hello, the top story after a gap of 2 years and a COVID-induced pandemic, world leaders have now gathered for the World Economic Forum's annual meet at Davos in Switzerland. India has a strong presence at the global meet. It's said to be the third largest delegation. The Union Minister Piyush Goyal is leading the Indian delegation at this annual meet. Vishnu Som reports from Davos.
Hello and welcome to the World Economic Forum from Davos, Switzerland. It is a very important meeting of the World Economic Forum which brings together international leaders, brings together business leaders, policy leaders, academics, people from the world of arts as well. It is crucial this year because it's the first World Economic Forum meet which is being held after the pandemic actually stopped this from being held here in Davos in winter. Usually it's in the month of January that the World Economic Forum is held. This year it's summer, completely different complexion to the events over here. But the World Economic Forum says this particular meeting is very important because we stand on the cusp of a dangerous time in our history, something that needs to be looked at. The world needs to consider the crisis in Ukraine. The world needs to consider the fallout of the pandemic. Now that's a broader issue, but what about the India presence? Well, we are told that this is perhaps the third largest India presence at the World Economic Forum since it all started with India making a serious mark over here. Unicorns, India's green strategy, India's startup strategy, India's digital space and what it means. Several chief ministers over here, as you can see behind me, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, they all have large pavilions over here. There are more than 250 Indian business leaders who are arriving, and there's this big India lounge as well. And all of them are trying to seek investment at a time when there are signs that India is coming out of COVID perhaps faster than several other countries in terms of the economic impact. However, there are serious concerns with regard to inflation, with regard to food security, with regard to fuel security. These are factors which affect India and indeed several other countries around the world. But let me show you something that's fairly interesting. If you walk with me over here and you come to the India Lounge, we've got this huge India Lounge over here, but right next to the India Lounge is the Russian War Crimes House. The Russian War Crimes House, which focuses on the war in Ukraine. And I think this is interesting because in a place where you've got the Indian presence, you've also got the Russian War Crimes House. Why is it interesting? Because India is one of the few countries in the world which hasn't voted against Russia in key international fora, which have criticized their invasion of the Ukraine. So it's all in the same place, and this actually sends a fairly interesting message. In Davos, Vishnu Som for NDTV.
And back home, the West Bengal BJP Vice President, the MP from Barakpur, Arjun Singh, quit the party he joined before the 2019 Lok Sabha elections and has returned to the fold of the TMC. On Friday, Arjun Singh had slammed the state BJP leadership. He said he was not being allowed to work in the party and was slated to meet the TMC National General Secretary Abhishek Banerjee at his office in Kolkata on Sunday evening. Singh has been in talks with the TMC for the last 6 months, and clearly it seems like all is forgiven now, because when asked about Arjun Singh's Ghar Wapasi, the Trinamool minister, the Jyotipriya Malik, said that if Arjun Singh returns, it's a moral victory for the Trinamool Congress. If everyone comes back to the party under the leadership of Mamata Banerjee, we will welcome them. And the Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao, who was in Punjab to pay tributes to the soldiers killed in the Galwan Valley clash and the farmers who died during the anti-farm law stir last year, and he appealed to farm leaders to continue their agitation against the centre until they get constitutional guarantees on support prices for crops. Farmers can change governments, he said, while exhorting them to unite for a nationwide agitation, which he said he will join and support along with other opposition parties like the Aam Aadmi Party.
केंद्र सरकार को मजबूर करके अपने कानून वापस लेने तक जो लड़ाई जारी रखे, मैं उन तमाम किसान नेताओं को, किसान भाइयों को सर झुका के प्रणाम करता हूं। अगर हम किसान चाहते हैं तो सत्ता पलट सकता है, कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है। सत्ता कहां से आता है? किसी को भी पावर कहां से आता है? हमारे हाथों से आता है। आंदोलन जब तक जारी रखे कि किसान के उगाई फसल को सही दाम मिले, अच्छे दाम मिले, उसका संविधानिक रक्षा मिले, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल गारंटी मिले, जो पार्टी ऐसे कहेगी आगे चल के अगले चुनाव में, उसी को हम साथ दें। ये आवाज, इस प्रकार का ऐक्यता सारे हिंदुस्तान में अगर हमारे किसान नेता ला पाएंगे, ये जरूर संभव होगा।
जो आप लोगों ने अपनों को खोया है, उनकी जान की कीमत नहीं लगाई जा सकती। अगर अपना कोई चला जाता है, उसकी कोई कीमत नहीं होती। आज इस सम्मान राशि को देने का केवल एक ही मकसद है। हम आप सब लोगों को ये कहना चाहते हैं कि पूरा देश आपके साथ है।
And moments after the finance minister announced slashing central excise duty on fuel and gas to tackle surging inflation on Saturday, the government, through its ministers, turned on the heat on states to get them to reduce state taxes as well, and it has led to a centre-state conflict. While the opposition says the government is duping the public by juggling figures, state governments are pointing out that the Modi-led government had slashed excise duty, which is shared by states, thus not really making a big effort in bringing down prices of petrol, diesel and cooking gas.
A big relief for people across the country as fuel prices finally came down after centre reduced excise duty on petrol and diesel.
मैडम बहुत राहत महसूस कर रहे हैं क्योंकि 100 से नीचे आ गया एटलीस्ट।
जी, अभी तक कितनी दिक्कत हो रही थी? ये लगातार दाम काफ़ी हफ्तों तक बढ़ते ही रहे, तो आम आदमी के तौर पे घर के खर्चे पे कितना असर पड़ रहा था?
काफ़ी खर्च पड़ रहा था क्योंकि बेसिकली क्या था कि जब पेट्रोल फिल करा रहे हैं तो पेट्रोल का टैंक में कुछ ऐसा लगता ही नहीं था कि 500 या 1000 का पेट्रोल फिल कराने के बाद कि कुछ पेट्रोल आया, क्योंकि लोकल एरिया में अगर हम करते हैं तो 2 दिन के अंदर ही सब कंप्लीट हो जाता था।
In Karnataka, Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai as well as citizens welcomed the centre's move. Currently, a litre of petrol in Bengaluru costs 101 rupees, down from 101 rupees and 9 paise, and diesel at 84 rupees, down from 94 rupees 79 paise.
It's a nice initiative because we've been struggling all time across, because one of the major things is about this domestic things like the petrol, the gas and even the diesel. It's a good initiative, I would say.
But still 101 rupees.
Yeah, but then let's hope and pray that things will get better and soon.
After Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman urged states to reduce VAT, Rajasthan, Odisha, Kerala and Maharashtra governments have cut VAT on petrol and diesel. Maharashtra government slashed the VAT on petrol by 2 rupees 8 paise per litre and diesel by 1 rupees 44 paise per litre. Kerala government turned down the demand from various quarters that it should reduce its share of taxes on petrol and diesel. Finance Minister K.N. Balagopal said that such a demand is against the interests of the state and its people.
After the centre reduced the prices, the state government in Rajasthan has also cut VAT by 2.48 on petrol and 1.16 on diesel. So now effectively Rajasthan, with one of the highest rates of petrol and diesel, has brought it down to 108 rupees per litre for petrol and about 93 per litre for diesel.
इससे बहुत फर्क पड़ेगा सभी को, हमको मजदूर लोगों को सबसे ज्यादा फर्क पड़ेगा। डेली 100 रुपए तेल डला के टोक फाट के जाते हैं, अभी 80 रुपए के तेल डला के टोक फाट के जा रहे हैं। 20 रुपए का दिन का बचत है मजदूर।
तो मतलब 600 रुपए 700 रुपए आपके महीने के बच गए।
हाँ, ये बच गए बिल्कुल।
तो मध्यम वर्ग के लिए तो बहुत बड़ा राहत।
बहुत बड़ा।
Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot tweeted saying, due to this, there will be a revenue loss of about 1200 crore rupees per year to the state and the general public will get its benefit. The state had suffered a revenue loss of 6,300 crore rupees due to the 2 reductions of VAT in the past. Adding today's deduction, the state will suffer a revenue loss of about 7,500 crore rupees per annum. However, other states like Tamil Nadu and Bengal have raised questions saying the central government can do a lot more to reduce the prices.
सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने जो टैक्सेस कम किए हैं, उससे पहले टैक्सेस कितने बढ़ाए थे? 15 रुपये बढ़ाया, 9 रुपया कम किया। तो सेंट्रल के ट्रेजरी में जितना पैसा जमा किया है, उसमें से थोड़े बहुत तो अभी दे रहे हैं। छोड़ दीजिए, राज्य सरकार की जिम्मेदारी जो है राज्य सरकार कर लेगी।
Tamil Nadu's Finance Minister P. Thiagarajan tweeted, the union government didn't inform, let alone ask for any state's view when they increased union taxes on petrol by 250% and diesel by 900% from 2014. Now, after rolling back 50% of the increases, they are exhorting states to cut. Is this federalism?
It's not good enough because they increased the price of petrol and diesel by 10 rupees recently. Centre still has flexibility to reduce excise duty more instead of pressurizing the states.
The central government, which until a few weeks ago had put the onus upon states for controlling fuel prices, now says that the move to slash excise duty is meant to ensure that prices of essential items are kept under control, since fuel prices tend to have a direct impact on retail goods. Bureau report for NDTV.
Now to Assam, where a day after a mob set a police station in Agaon district on fire over an alleged custodial death case, bulldozers demolished the homes of at least three people allegedly involved in the violence.
Bulldozers being used to demolish hutments and houses belonging to accused at Batadrava in Assam's Nagaon district. Authorities demolished houses that belong to some of the accused in Saturday's violent vandalism and arson at Batadrava police station by an irate mob. Following an alleged custodial death of this man, 39-year-old Shafiqul Islam, a fish seller, who according to Assam DGP's social media post, was picked up on Friday night in a drunken state and was released on Saturday, handed over to his wife. Later he fell sick and was taken to 2 hospitals but was declared dead. His family has alleged custodial torture for delay in paying a bribe allegedly demanded by the cops.
টকা লাগিব 10000 এনেকে এনেকে লোক কৈছে 10000 লাগিব হাত মুখা দি কৈছে টকা 10000 লাগিব লাগাৰ পাছত কৈছে বুলে হেৰি বুলে নহলে বুলে এক মৰে মৰে হেক কৰি দিয়ে তাৰ আগতে বুলে 3 সাইড বেট মাৰি দিলে এনেকা ভাগৰি পৰি গৈছে হাতে ভৰি বান্ধা ছিলে আইদুলক দি আৰু জহিলক দি মই টকা 10000 দি পঠিয়াইছো ঘৰৰ পৰা তো লৱাটো লৈ আনা বুলে লৈ আনি চাইছে খারাপ মানুহটো না লৱাটো লৈ গৈ থানাৰ পৰা লৈ গৈছে হস্পিটাললৈ কৈছে তো গাঁৱৰ খবৰ দিছে কৈছে বুলে ডেড বডি হৈ গ'ল.
On Saturday, after Shafiqul's death, an irate mob outnumbered the cops, vandalized and set the police station on fire. At least half a dozen of them, including women, have been already picked up by the cops.
আমি একটু ডিসিশন লইছো যে ইয়াত এটা এসআইটি ফর্ম করা হবো আর ওই এসআইটি এই গোটেই ঘটনাক্রমটো তদন্ত কৰিব তাৰ বাহিৰে যিটো মানুহ ইয়াত অনা হৈছিলে শফিকুল ইছলাম তেওঁৰ যেটো মৃত্যু ঘটিছে এই মৃত্যুৰ বিষয়ে এটা ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট ইনভেস্টিগেশনৰ কাৰণে মই ডিআইজি সেন্ট্ৰেল ৰেঞ্জক নিৰ্দেশ দিছো কেছ আমি ৰেজিষ্টাৰ কৰিছো কেছৰ বিষয়ে ডিস্ট্ৰিক্ট এডমিনিষ্ট্ৰেশ্যনক জনোৱা হৈছে আৰু হেইটো ভিত্তিত যেটোকে তাত ফুল ডকুমেন্টস আছে আৰু বেআইনী ভাৱে মানুহ আছে আৰু বেআইনী কাৰ্যকলাপ চলি আছে এই কাৰণে আজি তাত কিছুমান ঘৰত উচ্ছেদ চলোৱা হৈছে
The demolition and administration's subsequent anti-encroachment argument fits a pattern that has emerged of late in BJP-ruled states. Many in Assam are already questioning the action.
আমি একেটা সময়তে বটদ্ৰবা থানা জ্বলোৱাৰ ঘটনাটোক গৰিহণা দিছো আৰু একেটা সময়তে অভিযুক্তৰ ঘৰ বুলডোজাৰ দি ভাঙি দিয়াৰ ঘটনাটোকো আমি সম্পূৰ্ণৰূপে গৰিহণা দিছো দুইটা ঘটনাক সমানে আমি গৰিহণা দিছো আৰু বুলডোজাৰ লগাই কোন আইনৰ ভিত্তিত অসম চৰকাৰে এজন নাগৰিকৰ ঘৰ বুলডোজাৰ লগাই ভাঙি দিছে
While Assam police has suspended the officer in charge of Batadrawa police station, the DGP had also stated that it was not an action-reaction incident, but was carried out by criminals to destroy case records. But question remains why the cops were unable to control the mob at the first place. With Sanjay Chakravarti in Guwahati, Ratnadeep Chaudhary for NDTV.